Alright, we're going to talk briefly about mapping print coordinates. As we talked about before, x coordinates are diameters, z coordinates are lengths. You can see right here we're setting a datum at the center line of our cylindrical part and the front of the part. So again, all our x's are most likely going to be positive, our z's will be negative unless we're positioning somewhere ahead of the part. As in can cycles, which you'll learn later, they'll be done from a position that is outside the largest diameter by 100 thousandths and outside the face of the part by 100 thousandths. So if we look down here, we look at point 1, we are at x0, z0, which is the face and center line of our part. Point 2, we are at a diameter of 2 inches. Remember that we're going to be programming in diameters, not radii, unless we're using the another way of programming incrementally. No longer do you need to toggle between G90 and G91. You just use U and W, where U is incrementally the X and W is incrementally the Z. So right now we're just going to go in absolute though. So point 2, diameter of 2, we're still at Z0. We want to move over then to point 3, which is still a diameter of 2, but a Z of negative 3 inches. Point 4 is a diameter of 4 inches, which is an X, and a Z of negative 3 inches. And then that concludes this part. Now, things to keep in mind here is that obviously the difference here to here is diametrically 2 inches, radially 1 inch. So if you had a depth of cut here, that would be 1 inch depth of cut. This tool is not going to do a 1 inch depth of cut. There are can cycles to help you get this figured out, like a G90, which in lathe is no longer a absolute, but it is a can cycle for OD turning. So if this were a G90 command, then we could program and tell it how deep we wanted to go each time given these coordinates we were going to program in. So what I want you to know here is these are part feature coordinates based on the datum, which will be set to the front, right, and center line of our part. And U and W, U is incremental axis vector for the x's, and Z is incremental axis, or sorry, W is incremental axis vector for z's. So if I was moving from here to here incrementally, this would be U0 and W negative 3 inches. Also, G28 command, which is home, so home is going to be to the far right of the machine and to the back of the machine. Now, as we talked about before, you have to be careful about how you're setting the machines up. I believe on our setup, the tool cannot stick out more than 4 inches outside of the turret, otherwise it'll scrape the back of the machine when it goes home. So if you're going to program this G28 command, how you're going to do it is, this would be G0, G28, U0, W0, which means move incrementally nothing in the Z and X and go home. I know this may be a little bit confusing, but if you do not put the U0, W0, it may dive to the face of your part before it goes home. So the safer way of doing the home thing is just programming G0, G53, X0, so it'll go home in the X first, and then on the second line, G0, G53, Z0 will send it home in the Z.